Hello. It's it's better late than not at all. Welcome everybody. So sorry for the wait. We had a couple stragglers, and we had a great conversation about taxes and houses getting flooded and stuff like that. So all good, all good. Thanks for waiting. And this is the Professionals, you guys. It's the Professional show. We have this every Thursday night, and it's a traveling show. So we have six guys, and every week we host on a different channel. So without further ado, I am going to bring in the first bro, and that is Graham Nolan. How are you, Graham Nolan?
I'm good. I'd be better if the IRS didn't
No.
want so much from me, but I'm good.
Now people know who the IRS conversation was.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Graham. Yeah, he made a shit ton of money and has to pay a shit ton to the government. So I guess that's the way things are, right?
Yeah.
The more you make, the more you pay.
Yeah, and the less you end up with. It's weird.
Yeah, it is strange. All right. Well, our next bro is Frickaboom. How are you, Dan? We got a new background for you.
Great. Yeah, thank you. This green screen is super realistic.
It's so real.
Yeah, so real.
It looks amazing. It looks like acreage. Is that your property?
Yeah, it is. It is. We have almost an acre. It's nice. Country living, except for, I'm the one that the flood was about.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, let's see what woes Aaron Lepresti has to bring to the show.
I'm disturbed by the flood information and the tax information. I feel bad for you guys.
Yeah. Well, when you find out the flood was kind of sewage-ish, right?
That happened to my parents' house, and I helped them clean it up, and that's the worst, man.
My son puked. Harrison went downstairs and puked all over his shirt. That's how bad it smells.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Are you going to get Serve Pro in?
There's another company that's similar called Paul Davis, and they basically do the same thing. The insurance company, they pick who they want to use, and that's who they use.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, you shot that video the other day, and the F word never meant as much as when you're just going through and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah, well, because when this happened, it happened before on Friday on a smaller degree while I was on my way to Kentucky. So one of the things that the insurance people told my wife is take pictures and video. So when I went down there and saw it, the first thing I did was pull out my camera, but I'm discovering what's happening as I'm shooting. So that panic is raw.
Mm.
Yeah,
I felt your pain, man. I felt your pain. I've been there before where the only word is fuck. That's the only thing you can say.
Well, when I saw those, the first thing I thought of was, do you remember back, when was it? Probably mid-'80s when Eclipse had that flood and lost like half their inventory of their books. From a collector's standpoint, it was like Mr. Monster suddenly became a valuable book because all the copies got destroyed of it, But that just sucks, man.
Well, let's get Billy in here.
Bring the happy.
Well, he's eating dinner, so he's eating dinner. Yeah.
So having some scotch.
Daddy's at Costco, so I hear my puppy yelping when I got off of Ethan's stream. So now I had to get the puppy out of her little crate. Get her out to go to the bathroom. Of course, she's all excited. My son Matthew comes down. I'm like, Matthew, I'm streaming right now. You got to take her out. Matthew takes the puppy out. He says she pees twice. She walks in the house. I mean, she's only 16 weeks old or 17 weeks old now, and she's 45 pounds.
Did she throw a 2 on you?
And she peed on the friggin' floor. So I got to clean the floor. And then I make myself a drink, make myself a little
scotch.
Yeah, nah, it's bourbon.
What?
I'm out of scotch.
Man,
I'm gonna buy some scotch tomorrow for Easter.
Drink that. Take that drink for me, dude. I'm not drinking this month.
What's your drink after Easter? That's your rebirth. That's when you're reborn.
No, man. Listen. I started the get back in shape thing after my buddy died last month, and since the first, I've lost 12 pounds just by not drinking, eating right, and walking 2.5 miles every other day.
Now, does eating right constitute like Carl's Jr. and stuff?
Nope.
Taco Bell?
Nope.
Because I've been eating right this week. If that's what eating
Yeah.
right constitutes.
No, I cook. I'm
really
like
right.
you, Aaron. I'm like you. I cook, man. I did
No.
grilled chicken tenderloin with
Ooh,
garlic curry. I make my own marinade.
nice.
Yes, yeah.
Nice.
Eating right is just cutting out carbs and sugars.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
Aaron, I
That's
do
good.
miss the Western what is it? Western bacon cheeseburger at
Oh,
Carl's.
those
Mm.
are good.
Carl's Jr. Actually, they're my favorite fast food burger. They really are.
Yeah.
I think they're good. But
Well, out
You
here
know,
they're
not
called
good for you.
Hardee's.
Yeah,
Huh?
they
Just
don't
look
have
for
them out here.
yeah,
look
they're
for a
Hardee's.
Hardee's. Look for
Yeah,
a
Is that the
Hardee's.
same place?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
exact same
yeah.
thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Hardee's is Carl's Jr. But dude,
Carl's
Art, you
Jr.
have
has better
Whataburger. You have Whataburger.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
They don't.
yeah,
We
but
do.
not around here. There's like a couple locations, but they're like 30 miles from here.
Well,
and
you've got In-N-Out, don't you?
no,
No.
Oh man.
California, dude, not up here.
Well, California has the last In-N-Out. I think is in Texas.
Yeah, we're
Like-
getting that. We're getting one in here.
Yeah, it doesn't move east at all.
Was that where Brad worked at Fast Times, or was that All American Burger?
As an all-American, yeah.
No shirt,
Thanks.
no
What was
shoes,
his friend's name?
no dice.
What was his friend's name? Andy or something? Because he had to cover Andy's. Like Andy had to take a piss or
wait,
something.
hang on.
He's like, thanks, blah blah blah.
He goes, hell of a
I
piss,
just had-
Andy.
like
or something.
Arnold.
That's it.
Arnold.
Arnold. Yes.
Arnold, yeah.
Hell of a piss, Arnold.
It was a hell of a piss, Arnold.
There was an All America burger on. It was either Sunset Boulevard or Melrose. I think it was Sunset. When I was 18, a friend of mine and I drove down to LA, right? Because we went to Disneyland, then we went to Hollywood Boulevard to movie poster shop, and they used to actually have those down there.
Yeah.
And we decided that we didn't bring enough money for the stuff we wanted to get. So we quit eating and just kept buying stuff, right? So it was like we went to All America Burger on Sunset for like 99 cent, hamburger for the whole day kind of thing.
That's
We lost a few
hilarious.
pounds, but came home with some cool movie posters. So
Hey,
you go.
sacrifice.
So we don't have Andy Smith. Andy Smith has a show, right? He's doing a convention or something.
he's
I'm not
driving.
Sure
he was,
I'm
he
not
was
sure what
battling
happened.
with Helen in the car. I was just talking to him about a half hour ago, and she was, pay attention to the road. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I don't feel like I should be in on this conversation.
No, there's
He's
nothing
traveling
like a
man. Let me
road
tell you
fight.
something. Me and Andy had a grand old time together at the South Carolina Comic-Con. You guys were missed. We talked about you. Talked a lot of smack about you guys.
That's why we gotta do North Carolina, man. Like I can't wait and
Well, we got to
we
see.
can all get together.
I
Is
met
that in
Mike.
October?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I met Mike. So we'll see. I guess he's got to talk to his man and see if
Keith.
they can coordinate and get us all there. But let me tell you, we should wear Ben Cooper costumes. Have
Yeah.
the professional
Well, I know
television,
three of us are in. I
Who's
know
Ben
Graham will be
Cooper?
those masks from when we were kids with the
Yeah,
last
hold on,
band.
hold on.
Spider-Man,
okay.
Planet of the Apes. I'm
Yeah.
talking
Okay.
James.
Yeah, it won't fit. It won't fit anymore.
Yeah, that's the funny part of it. It's all ripped and just hanging.
Yeah. But yeah, Grant, you're getting Graham, you're getting Andy, you're getting me at the one in October. Hopefully, we can manage some things.
Now,
I'll go
if everything works out, I'll go for sure.
broadcast it.
Nobody's done it yet. Not.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, think of a single YouTube show. I think Friday Night Tights had done it from Las Vegas. They had done one, but nobody on our side has done one. So
Well,
We
I
have
think-
to
think-
do the show live. We have to do the show live at
yes,
the convention. Yeah.
yeah, and get questions from the chat, like out in the audience, and
Yeah.
dude.
and then I mean, I'm both delighted and scared what it's going to be like after show of all of us hanging out, man.
Right?
Yeah. Hey, look,
We
Smokey
can
the
make a
Cat.
documentary film on that. The bros together for the first time.
Yeah.
Is this is the guy, right?
Yeah, that's our man.
Yo, what's
That's
up,
our
bro?
man.
So let's hope.
That's
Smokey
all
the
right.
Con Cat.
He sent me an email, Mike, about if the schedules all are all work out. So I guess that's meaning you, Aaron and Art, because I told him I'm
Yeah.
in. So if
No,
you're
I'm
around,
in. I'm in.
Dude, I gotta fly all the way across country. You guys are just right there. You're all
What
right there.
what are we, minced meat? Like
Yeah,
what
yeah,
the fuck, man?
boo-hoo.
Chopped
Yeah.
liver?
Oh, you got to travel across country. Every time we go to San Diego, we got to go across country.
Okay, well, when was the last time you went to San Diego, Graham?
When was the last time
2016.
anyone went to San Diego?
Yeah, okay. So you go every
Unfair
year.
question. Unfair.
All right. All right. All right.
Hey, you know what,
But I was
Aaron?
I'll
Vegas
fly
last
to Oregon and kidnap you, bro.
Yeah.
We'll put you in the
All
trunk of our
right.
car.
All
Hey, what's
right.
tonight's topic, Art?
Yeah,
What
what is
Tonight's topic is regrets. Apparently, Aaron's already having some.
I keep regret.
Regret.
I got regrets.
And I have a few. Yeah,
I think
like
this panel is a
Sinatra.
great regret.
Mine are too few to mention, though.
Mine are
Oh,
few.
nice. Well done.
Well, you're going to get a spotlight, so you're going to have to come up with something, Graham.
Mine are epic, so you can borrow one of mine if you need it.
Yeah.
Hey, what is Past Master Stan? What is his avatar?
Let me
It
see.
Show him my avatar. I can't.
Oh
that
my
looks
gosh,
like
is that plumbing or something?
it looks like
it's
a
your
plumbing issue.
Yeah, it looks like your basement.
Oh, it's yours. It's your basement.
That's not my basement. He says that's a bane of his existence. So maybe he's having issues.
okay.
He's
Dang.
got a
Hey,
leak,
what's
too.
up, John Davies? Good to see you too, man.
Hey Dan,
Yeah.
Dan, are you regretting buying your home?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I only regret not putting the books on pallets. I should have. I'm just not used to basement dwelling. You know what I mean? Like coming from California, I'm not used to the woes of having a basement, so I didn't put things on pallets.
Yeah,
That's-
everything in my garage
mea culpa.
is on pallets. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all the books I brought from California, all my mailers, my Gemini mailers, everything, I got them all on crates. And actually, the guy that brought the stuff in, he had an extra crate and a pallet, and I asked him for it. So I have an extra one just in case.
Yeah.
So
I'm just gonna go Jack
does flood
Costco's.
here.
Samuel Bono says, I'm Brazilian and a big fan of R.T. Bear and Graham Nolan's success. Always to you.
What about the
Aaron-
rest of us?
Aaron Lepresti hates you, Samuel Bono.
Hey, no,
What
but you
about
know
the
what?
rest of
Hey,
us?
I'm Portuguese and I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like,
Get no
look
love.
at these five
Hey,
people.
there
There he
he
is.
There he
There
is.
he is. He's missed.
Hey,
It's-
Eddie Smith, you are
it-
missed, my friend.
Yeah,
Yeah, but boys, we were smoking cigars, we were drinking scotch, drinking bourbon with Bud Root. I don't know if you guys ever hung out with Bud
Oh,
Root.
I know Bud
The
Root.
cave
Root.
woman,
Prince
Bud
of a
Root.
He
Yeah.
draws some sexy females for
Yeah,
sure.
Here's another thing about Bud Root. Bud Root is a U.S. Marine.
Really?
I didn't know
Really?
that.
I didn't
Bud
either.
Root's a killer.
That's awesome.
We
So
were talking
what-
to our neighbor, just speaking of killer, and we got done with the conversation. And I turned to Pamela and I go, that guy's killed somebody. He's killed a person before. And then Pamela's like, yeah. And she never agrees with me. And she's like, yeah, he's killed. Because I was talking about, like, in Texas, the needed killing law. And I'm just kidding about, like a gun, somebody coming on my property and shooting them. And when you're just joking around, sometimes people think you're being serious.
Yeah.
So then he started sharing his gun stories. And then that's when Pamela and I were like, I think that dude's killed a person.
I tell you what, man, nothing makes a chili taste as good as a B&E. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. Well, regrets. I've had a few. We'll get into this if you guys
Real
are all
quick. Is
ready.
anybody else drinking, or is I the only one? So should I
You're the
stop?
only one.
No, you just drink.
Water.
You
I may
do
be
you,
drinking.
Billy.
You're the only one.
You're special, Billy.
Yeah, be special, man. You're the only one wearing shades, too. You're the only
Andy's-
teen
Dude, I
sensation.
think that's
Do
my
what
new
you
look because I
want.
am the teen sensation, right? So should
Right,
I wear
you do what
shades?
you want.
Andy's
Do
going
what
to
you want.
Savannah, Georgia. You're going to be like 2 hours from me, brother. It's going to be weird. I'm going to feel your heartbeat. Fill out your heartbeat.
That was so gay.
It was. Hey, we're the bromosexuals and not the.
You know what?
Oh.
It's all
Dude,
it's
that's-
all allowed. Yeah. Yeah, all the above. All right, Graham.
All good,
You
both
said
not.
you had a minor regret. So what is your
Oh no, I
minor?
was recording Frank Sinatra. So yeah, like anybody, I got plenty of regrets. Now, is this one of them is
Especially
actually
our age.
being on the show now. We're talking about in our careers regrets, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
just clarifying.
I shouldn't have taken that acid in 5th grade.
Graham's got a few bodies in shallow graves.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'd say that my biggest regret is when I first not having the confidence and always trying to compare myself to others when I first got into the business. And I've talked about this before because that really it impedes your growth because you're constantly worrying about what other people think of your work, like trying to please the editor instead of trying to please yourself. And so I didn't have that confidence, and it shows in the work. There's still solid storytelling going on and stuff. I just did a show yesterday where I found these 2 giant portfolios stuffed with artwork in it that I hadn't seen in years. I mean, stuff going back to 1983. And so I started showing it on the stream and everything. And it was really, really cool. And what I could see in a lot of that artwork, especially after I left Eclipse, because with Eclipse, there was no preconceived ideas. They left you alone, and I could experiment and do different styles, and it was really fun. And then when I went over to Marvel and DC, I saw my artwork kind of go and just die on the vine, looking very unsure of itself. And then eventually, I think about by the 5th issue of Hawk World, when I was penciling and inking it, I could really see the stuff starting to come together, particularly the inking. But so that's one of my biggest regrets is that just beating myself up and not allowing the growth to happen naturally. I was at my own worst enemy, really. So that's my regret.
Well, it's funny because you said that as soon as you started saying, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still like that. You know what I mean? Like I still get in my own way where I'm just like, it's not good enough. And I remember I was drawing, Ethan does these live draw streams. And so he was drawing and he's like, I think he was just saying like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just draw. Don't worry about it. Just draw. And so I was like, yeah, just draw. You know what I mean? Don't think about other than what you have to do to get it down on the paper and the story and all that other stuff. Yeah. But just draw and have a good time. And so I wrote it down. It's right here on my drawing board. It's like, just draw, have a good time. Yeah, don't worry too much about it. And it's weird how insecure we can get as artists, because for 1 minute you're riding high, right? You draw something and you think you're God's gift to the world. And then within a half hour you start on another panel and then you're like, I can't draw. I can't do anything.
I just forgot it all.
Yeah, it's really like, it's a weird way to make a living.
Well, you know what? But I'm over that. I don't have any kind of self-doubt or anything anymore in my work, because I know what to do to fix it. If I can't,
40 years, almost 40 years of experience.
Yeah, the experience
exactly.
is there.
By the time I got to around 40 is when I really kicked it into overdrive, and I could go off and do experimental things and not care what other people thought. And it's that freedom that allows growth to happen. I haven't looked back since then, but there was a lot of years. I started when I was 23 till I was 40. That's a lot of years.
Yeah, it takes a while. Like for inking, I never really had those hangups, and I think that's why I didn't pencil as much in the early days, because I broke in as a penciler and as an inker on the same day. But the inking was just I had more confidence, because people also would tell me, like, ink me. They wanted it. You know what I mean? So they pursued me to. I never really pursued it myself. The companies or different artists asked me. So there was already kind of a built-in confidence because they had confidence in me. But when you pencil, it's kind of like there's a blank page. You know what I mean? There's nothing to really riff off of or do anything like that. So yeah, when I ink, it's not a big deal. But penciling, it's still a little bit, there's still a little bit of that, because I didn't really work penciling for 40 years. You know what I mean? On a monthly book continuously. And I think if I had, it would be sad if I didn't have the confidence. But yeah, I think I'd be a lot further along. But the way I look at it right now is it's like I'm starting over. I'm still untapped. There's still potential there.
Right.
And after 40 years in the career, of a career, that's pretty cool to say. Let me take this super chat.
Yeah.
So this is Tar. Is that Tarts9 or
Tarts9?
For $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Hell. Cheers, professionals. Great stream, Aaron, today. Yes.
Thank you. Hey, Andy accused me of skipping your super chat today, and I don't think I did. So Tarks, if I did skip it, let me know. But I don't think I did.
But I didn't catch yours, Aaron, today. But I did catch
what?
Yeah, I'm sorry. But I did catch Graham's. Was it yesterday when you were pulling out all that
okay.
artwork?
I see.
Those
I
Batman pages. Yeah, I'm going to heap praise on
sure.
Graham and throw you under the bus.
See, now I'm insecure again. See, I was just feeling good about myself, and then you pull that crap on me.
Yeah, your regrets are coming on the show. Yeah. But yeah, those Batman pages were pretty killer, Graham.
I mean the pencil ones that I did with samples.
I almost volunteered, and I was gonna let me ink one of those pages.
They need a lot of work, dude.
No, I mean, that there was a Batman casting the big bat shadow as the first panel, and then the Wayne Manor, and the rain and stuff. I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
For that was before you were a working professional, right? Those were yeah, pretty killer. All right, well, let's go to Dan and see what his regrets are.
I really don't have many or any regrets, though. Along the lines of what Graham was talking about, I suppose you could call it a regret. Breaking in, I drew. I had a friend, Mike, that I drew with, and but most of the time, I was creating a style for myself that was truthful to my influences and truthful to my vision. And when I joined Extreme, it became a lot of competition within the studio, and a lot of young people, and I liken it to cooking. Like, imagine knowing what you want and how to cook things the way you do it. You have your own flavor, but then you get put in with a bunch of other cooks, and they're putting cumin in their cooking, and everybody loves it. They're like, that's the fucking best. And you're like, well, I better put some in mine.
And you had no idea what that was.
Yeah, even though your dish is not suited for that. And there was a period of my work where I was trying to be relevant within the studio, and it's like I've talked about the Matsuda shine, because Matsuda, when he came in, he did these very unique shines on things that everybody did. And when Platt came, everybody started doing some things, and when Beasley took off, everybody started doing those things, and that's how the sort of a house style happened. But I realized I was starting to feel more depressed as I worked. And it was mostly because I wasn't being truthful or honest in what I was manifesting out of myself. It wasn't like a true expression. It was an expression that was then filtered by all of these other things to try to be relevant. And it really wasn't until I left comics in 2003, went off into animation. I still have drawn every single day. I actually enjoy drawing. I'm like, I read an interview with John Buscema, who says he'll work, 12 hours at the board, go sit down, watch TV, and then keep drawing until he goes to bed, even though those drawings that he's doing aren't for nothing but drawing.
Well, John Buscema flip the pages over. There's a ton of doodles on the back.
That's right. I own a few of those. Yeah.
But that's nice.
But I realized when I would come home from directing like the Ricky Gervais show, and I'd come home and I'd be sitting and doodling while I was on the couch, I realized
couch doodles.
Yes, that's where it came from. I realized I really like this guy's stuff. The person that is in this sketchbook, I like his stuff, which happens to be my stuff. And then I realized I'm me again. But I had stepped out of comics to get to that point because I had no audience and no expectations to where I felt like I can be honest with my stuff. But the thing that I was thinking about that I was bringing up before we went live was it's not necessarily a regret, but it's a what if. When I first broke into comics and started working for Extreme and had done Bloodstrike. Bloodstrike came out in May of '93, and WonderCon was in April of '93. And I went up to WonderCon and I went to this party, and this Marvel editor named Don Daly came up to me, and
Punisher.
yeah, he said my name wrong. He's like, "You're Dan Traga," and I said. I said, no, it's Frega. He goes, man, I love your stuff. And I go, how could you see my stuff? Like, it doesn't come out till next month. He goes, I've seen that Bloodstrike. You're pretty good. Listen, if you ever come up to Marvel, come see me. I want you to do some stuff with me. So my very first signing was out in New Jersey. And I asked the guy who had hosted the signing if he would take me to visit Marvel, because I'd never been to Marvel. So I went up there. I met Michael Golden for the first time, Tim Toohey, Larry Hama, and Don Daly. And Don, after actually having Bloodstrike in his hand, said, anything you want, anything you want. And I literally like threw a project at him, like my dream project, especially at the time. I was like, I want to do a story that's Daredevil, Punisher, Spider-Man, and I want Michael Golden to ink it. You know, like that. Like I was like,
very specific.
Yeah, very specific. But, you know, if you can't get Michael Golden to ink it, I want Daredevil, Spider-Man, Punisher. And Don was like, great, I like your instincts. And, you know, we can make that work. Those characters go together, blah, blah, blah.
Wasn't
So
Don's office, it was always like you were making a deal, like a back alley deal, right? Because the office was always dark and it was like hush tones and it was like
I remember walking in and there being a pillar, but then when you turn to the right, there was his flat file. And like a little couch and a flat file over here, but he had Michael Golden covers all over the wall. But I remember going back to Extreme. Remember, I'd only been there for about a year. Bloodstrike 1 had just come out. This is when Valentino was still part of the studio. And I said, hey, Rob, like Marvel just offered me a fucking graphic novel and I can do this, this, and this. Spider-Man's my dream, et cetera, et cetera. And Valentino goes, they don't really love you for you. That was what Valentino said, like immediately. They don't love you for you. They want to take a bite out of Image. So if they can grab you and you're the weakest of the bunch, they're going to grab you. So Jim made it seem like I didn't matter and that like I was a prize for Marvel. And I believed him. I was young. I was like, and maybe he was right. Maybe he was right because Marvel had like, you know, maybe it would be a feather in Marvel's cap that they took someone away from Image for a while. I don't know. But Jim,
but you know, like two things can be right, you know,
at the same time. Sure,
you know,
for
so
sure.
so maybe there was some truth to it, but it doesn't mean that was that you weren't good and that Don really didn't want you, to work at Marvel.
So and then Rob was like, well, were you supposed to do Bloodstrike and this? I go, they told me I had an open deadline. They said, you know, I can work on it on the side because I just, you know, told them the whole situation. And that there's Andy. Be safe. I hope you're being safe, dude. I hope you're being safe.
I'm in the back seat, baby. I'm being
no backseat driving.
That looks like you're the driver, dude. That's great. Just put your hand up like this. See, there it is. Yeah. Go like this.
Hey.
and then just start going like this. Yeah.
Hey, Art. I
Yeah.
sent you something privately in your direct message on Facebook. It's a video. It's only 30 seconds. If you could play it, that would be awesome. Not to interrupt, but I think you guys will be able to kick out of it.
Yeah.
Is this more of your like naked home videos?
Oh no, I think it's naked home videos of Billy.
No, Art, don't say anything. Art, don't give it away.
Okay.
Trust me.
Okay. Well, hold on. Let me cue it up because I already played part of it.
Now you got us interested.
Yes,
All
now
right,
we're awake.
So let's go check this out. I hope
What are you saying? I'm boring? You saying I'm boring, Aaron? Come on.
No.
Art, I think you're going to regret sharing this.
Oh, really?
No, I don't think he is.
I think maybe Billy's going to regret me playing. Yeah.
Billy might regret it.
There we go. Oh.
Okay. Hopefully the sound will be good.
Oh, fuck. I hate Ralph Macchio.
Why?
And they put a giant size. He kind of grew up near me and all this stuff, and I don't know. Maybe I got stories, and so they know that I had this thing against Ralph Macchio. Even though I've met him a couple of times, he's been very nice to me.
Did Rob Young put that there?
Yeah, Rob Young. And, yeah,
Ah, that's awesome.
And I left, and then
That's
they left
awesome.
it behind my booth all weekend.
I thought you were gonna punch Ralph in the nads.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
I was
could've.
thinking too. I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I got
funny.
stories about Ralph Macchio. None of them I
But-
regret.
Yeah,
So you hate
so-
hate Ralph Macchio, the editor at Marvel Comics.
No, I love Ralph Macchio. Actually, I like.
That's a
Actually,
different-
I
that's
hate
a
Ralph
different one.
Macchio, the editor
I
at
know a lot
Marvel.
of people that
That's
do
another
hate him.
story.
I'm
Is that
going to
your
finish
story?
my story, guys.
Yeah,
Let me just
let
finish my
Dan
story.
finish his story, Billy. Jeez.
I love you guys like brothers, and that's why I'm not going to kill all of you. I'm just kidding. No, basically what happened was that Rob and Jim convinced me that I should not take it, that it would have been bad optics for Image as a whole, and blah 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 blah. So I had to call Don Daly and turn it down. So
that hurts.
But no, I know, but it's not a regret, but I always go, what if? Because like that was, as a kid growing up and wanting to get into comics, that was literally my passion project. That was like, oh, I can have anything I want. This I'm gonna shoot for the stars.
That's where I wanted to go with this as well. So it's like a regret, but it's kind of a what if as well. So let's project it. Let's just say you did take that job. Have you ever thought about where you would be now if you had?
No,
Never.
no. Not never. But now that I have my wife and kids and the circumstances in which I met my wife, like the reason I met my wife is because of Jeff Matsuda, and not because Jeff introduced me to her. I lived with Rob Liefeld and then and didn't know where to find an apartment. Jeff Matsuda moved to SoCal. He found a place in Anaheim Hills, was singing the praises of this apartment complex.
Off the 91, I know where that is.
Yeah, and the Cascades. And then Chap moved there, and then I was like, dude, it must be fucking rad. So I moved there. Well, I met my wife at the coffee shop in that neighborhood. Like, you know what I'm saying? So had I stayed these little things, had I stayed the course on the Marvel thing, I might not have stayed at Extreme. And you know what I'm saying? Like, things happen the way they're supposed to at the end of the day.
That's true.
Yeah. So
Except
that's
in
it.
my
That's
case.
my story. Oh, come on.
So, Andy, are you with us for the show?
Yeah, I'm here for a little bit. I mean,
Well, what's your regret then?
Oh, I didn't know if you guys went all the way around.
No, he just skipped me and Billy, but that's okay. Go ahead, Andy. Sure, go ahead.
Anytime.
That's what you call a drive-by.
Right.
And keep that hand on the wheel.
Hi, dude. My fucking shoulder. Yeah.
No, it was early in my career, and I was offered to draw the Supreme Gladiator crossover between Supreme and Marvel's Gladiator.
Whoa.
And Keith Giffen wrote it, and it was one of those forks in the road where it was do this or do something else, and I chose the something else, which I want to say it might have been Deadly Duo for Image, that limited series, and I think I chose that because it was a 4-issue limited series compared to a 48-page one-shot. But I got to tell you, when the Gladiator Supreme came out, drawn by Ed Bennis, and I saw what he got to draw, I was like, oh, that would have been fun. I even did character sketches for myself on how I was going to draw Supreme and Gladiator. And then that other job
Was
came
Giffen
along
going to
and I
do
backed out.
layouts?
Yeah. That's back when he was
Dude,
doing layout.
His layouts are fantastic. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you look at I mean, I think Simon Beasley is awesome no matter what he does, but when he's working over Keith's layouts is when he's the best.
Yeah, definitely.
I've worked with Keith. I did end up working with Keith on Mars Attacks, the Image universe, for those 4 issues. But yeah, so that's one. And then if we go around the horn again, I've got another one. So
Okay. So how about you, Billy, Mr. Sensational?
Thank you. I like that. I've grown up in the past 20 minutes. I have I'd like to go back to my greatest regret. So we get 2 chances, but I have a few. Like My biggest regret is that I do not follow my instincts. Every time I followed my primal instincts, whether it comes to creativity, very important decisions, I've always been right. Believe it to me. So one of them was, aside from the investments I wanted to make, when I wanted to put money into Apple, when I first started making all this money with same thing with Amazon came out, I wanted to put $20,000 in Amazon in '97 because I felt it was a way to sell my books directly to the customers. But I was kind of talked out of it by some of my buddies because we're cutting the retailers out and how great they've been to us, and you can't do that. Well, that $20,000 would have been worth about $23 million today.
Oh.
So that's one of the things. But my other regret is that in 1995, believe it or not, Tia Carrera would call me all the time. That they loved the idea of She. She wanted to play She. They had this movie, this production company. Her husband Eli Samaha is going to get into producing. Blah blah blah. They fly me out to LA. I meet with them as just an initial meeting, and he's starting this new company as his first film. It's called oh my God, it's, why am I drawing a blank? It's a small budget film, and he's got Tony Curtis starring in it. He's got Chris Rock, I think, is in it. He's got Joe Pantoliano in it. Tia Carrera starring in it. It's called The Untouchables or something like that, but it's not quite that. The Expendables, maybe before The Expendables. And I'm sitting there listening to it with my buddy Keith, who's my attorney, and that, he's getting this film off the ground, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there, and I had the meeting with him, and I walk out, I'm like, Keith, I said, I want to direct movies. I said, what if I give this guy $100,000 and tell him I want to produce this film, but I have to direct it? And he's like, Billy, this guy's he owns dry cleaning businesses. He owned the Roxbury Club or the Roxy Club. He's a club owner. He might be a mobster. You want to give him $100,000? I'm like, well, what if I give him $50,000? Anyway, he's like, Billy, don't do it. Just don't do it. You don't know him. Do what you're doing. Everything's great. Blah, blah, blah. Keep doing what you're doing. We'll sign a film deal, which we end up finding with them. Anyway, it was his first film. The movie, I think the budget for the film was probably $500,000 all the way. A direct-to-video film. It ended up grossing something like $8 million. And started Eli Samaha on his franchise films, which he ended up remaking, doing the whole 9 yards, Get Carter, all this stuff. But I could have paid $50,000 because I then told them this story, and he's like, Billy, $50,000 would have made all the world, and would have been a game changer for us. I would have let you direct that film. If you couldn't direct it, I would have had a ghost director with you, whatever, someone directing. So I could have directed Tony Curtis and produced my own independent film for $50,000 only, with all these stars that ended up, and I would have made money off of the back end too. And I would have, I would have I would have directed.
Dude, you could have been Kevin Smith.
I have no doubt I would have directed episodes of Band of Brothers. I have no idea that I would have been a film director, and that's fucking.
I don't let it, man.
Done.
You're here with us. Oh wait, I don't want you to do it.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
No.
Oh no, where'd Billy go?
Oh no, where'd he go?
Bang!
Bang!
No, so
oh my
but
God,
I just wonder what my life would have been like. Now we have a great life,
Right.
I really do. I married a very smart woman. We sold, I've sold over 3 million comics of the books I own, or have, or a part, I really can't complain.
So
about
Billy,
any
was
of that,
was this before Deborah? Was this before she?
Debbie and I were on a break. That's another regret. We broke up.
Okay, but you had already created She.
Oh
at
yeah,
that
she was
time.
out. Yeah, Tia Carrera,
Okay.
and I would have directed all these people this movie, and this film was shot up I think up in Canada. The $500,000 budget, and then I could have probably directed a whole series of other. I could have directed the whole 9 yards. Who knows?
And then you would have got to meet one of the true teen sensations, which is Tony Curtis.
Yes. And my first film, I could have done. Now, does that make you want to walk to the top of a building and jump off?
Yeah,
Well,
that's
you could have been
that's pretty
directing
bad.
Ralph Macchio though, so
I
Yeah,
would
what
never
if he-
hire Ralph Macchio. I would have ruined his career.
Did we figure out why you hate Ralph Macchio? Did we?
That's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother show.
Uh-oh, here we go. That's
There
the
we
story I
go.
want to
I
hear.
actually do like him now. I like him now because we're both big Islander fans, and I've seen him at games, and I've seen him at some shows and stuff like that. So,
All right.
But,
Well,
that was-
Once again, Billy Tucci knows everyone.
and it's amazing how happy and what a good positive outlook on life I have, because I do know that I'm very blessed in life. But son of a bitch, I wake up in cold sweats for the decisions I didn't make that I could have made. That wouldn't have meant really anything to me. That really, I had that party on the aircraft carrier. I spent $50,000 on a party to launch the Atomic Angels. That money right there I could have put into this film and forget it.
Yep.
So you actually think for 50,000 that guy would have?
I know he told me he would have. He's like, oh God, because the person that directed it. If you guys look at 1995 Tony Curtis film, Tia Carrera film, it's like The Expendables or something like that. Kevin Bernhardt wrote it. He also starred in it. You could find out what it is, and
It could have been you.
Oh, tragic, man.
Oh my
Tragic.
God. Okay.
My
All right. Let's see what Aaron's regrets are.
my story is going to pale in comparison to that now.
Andy, turn your light on.
Well,
I
so
can't. She's
Is it-
driving and it's distracting to her.
I know this is Andy's freaking me out, man. Look at that. This is
Movie
creepy.
background. It
Very,
looks like
very, very noir.
Yeah,
That
very
looks like the
noir.
opening scene to the film The Expendables.
Yeah, directed by Billy Tucci.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. She's allowing me to turn it on for a little bit.
is it
Okay.
the Immortals?
The Immortals. Yes, The Immortals. That's it.
Oh my
Does
gosh, I'm gonna
anybody
have
have
to check
a
this out.
movie poster? Is there a poster?
Yeah.
Really find- See if you can find.
Can you share it?
Yep.
I'm sorry, Aaron. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
It's all about Billy.
Yeah, he's a teen sensation, man. He gets the extra time.
He's now Mr. Sensation.
Now look,
There you
he's
go.
got the shades on and
And
everything.
this, I just want to let everyone out there. I want to thank you. This is the last you'll ever. Look at that.
Tony Curtis isn't in the show.
Yes, he is. He's just not in that poster. He's started.
Oh shit! And there's Joey Pants, man.
Yeah,
Joey
Joey
Pants was in it.
Chris Rock. Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Hey, and that's Link from the Mod Squad.
Yeah, Clarence Williams III
R.I.P. Yeah.
and William
Eric
Forsythe is
Roberts.
him.
Come on, that could have been my first film. And the director, and I'm like, who directed? He's like, I don't even remember who directed it. He was like a video director. I think he directed some Duran Duran videos or something like that.
That's funny.
Let's see.
And I could have been on my way because then they could have wanted to make She after that. Forget it.
Yeah. I don't even know if I can
Brian
speak
Grant.
after that. It's so tragic.
I know. I'm sorry, Aaron. I'm sorry.
All right, Aaron. What movie could you have directed?
Well, my story starts out in Turkey, and I was it's a drug prison thing, and so it gets pretty
Hey,
pretty
dude,
scary.
that's Billy. What's his name?
Yeah, he died of
He's from my hometown.
what is that guy's name? The
Billy-
actor?
No, Billy.
No, it's not Billy Hicks. It's the guy who starred in Midnight Express.
Yeah, Midnight. That's what I'm talking about. Midnight Express, the actual.
No, Brad. It was Brad. Brad something.
Right, but the person he was portraying was from
Yeah.
my hometown.
No kidding.
He grew up like right around the block from me. He was like a burnout.
Once
Yeah,
again, Billy knows everyone.
My brothers knew him. And my sister, I didn't know him. He was older. He's way older than me.
Wow. All right. Okay, so these stories, this is a choice I made or just a bad circumstance that turned out the wrong way? I mean, does it matter? Because I can tell the
your
story I've told the story of how Ethan Van Sciver ruined my career, but I don't know if I want to tell that again because people probably already heard it. So I'll tell this one. No, it's true. It's so true, and it's tragic. It's really tragic, but it had nothing to do with me. It wasn't a choice I made. It was, but anyway. So the choice I made was when I went from to DC from Marvel, right? And Dan DiDio's like, I was like, well, what would I be doing if I came over and blah blah blah? And he goes, well, we're going to start a Power Girl series, and we'll have you draw it. I said, all right. So I'm doing like sketches and stuff for Power Girl, and kind of getting in the the idea of how to do it. Well, then Terry Dodson leaves Wonder Woman, right? And so they're like, yeah, who are we going to get to do Wonder Woman? And Mike Martz was there at the time, and Martz is like, well, why don't we get Aaron to do it? You know, and I said, oh, he's already going to do Power Girl. And so they're like, no, we need to get Lopresti to do this. So they call me up and say, Martz is like, dude, we want you to take over Wonder Woman. And I'm like, I don't know. Terry just did it. Terry and I are friends. I don't want it to look like, he hooked me up with the job to replace him and that kind of thing.
Oh, who cares? Nobody cares about that.
Wait a second. Hang on a second. So I'm just
starting to sound like a regret.
Yeah.
No, it is. The regret is that I did take Wonder Woman, and this is why. But so anyway, so they start talking, and Martz was really working me. He's like, dude, you have an opportunity to draw, one of the big three at DC. How can you not take that? And so I was like, I started thinking, I was like, yeah, you're right. So I took it. And then, of course, they gave Power Girl to Amanda Conner, right? Well, Power Girl outsold Wonder Woman by probably 20,000 copies every month.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
And Wonder Woman is never sold like you'd think it's sold. It never has.
Yeah.
It did okay when Terry and whoever the writer was launched it, but that was a #1, right? They relaunched the series, and I came into like issue 20, right? And so now in retrospect, look how, my point is simply this, that Amanda ended up becoming a pretty big name as a result of Power Girl. And I didn't as a result of Wonder Woman. So I often think, well, what if I'd stayed on Power Girl if it would have made a difference? And here's the thing. When I was on Wonder Woman, I was very popular with the Wonder Woman crowd, right? The problem with the Wonder Woman crowd is they're kind of like the Legion crowd. They're very dedicated to Wonder Woman, and I don't know if I still have it or not. But so they're like, oh my gosh, you're the best Wonder Woman artist ever. And you're like, so you're feeling pretty good about yourself. You sell all your original pages because everybody wants Wonder Woman pages, right? Even though the book wasn't really selling more than like 30-some thousand copies. And so, but then as soon as I'm off Wonder Woman, that focus for most of those Wonder Woman fans goes on to the next Wonder Woman artist, right? And so they don't follow you, you know what I mean? Right. And so I was watching just the popularity of Power Girl, and that's not to take anything away from Amanda, because I'm sure she was driving a lot of that popularity, right? But you always think, well, what if I had been in that position? Would it have been just as popular, and would I have been in a better position after I got out? Well, this is a two-part thing, because the second thing that happened was I was offered Superman, right, after Wonder Woman, and I'm like, heck yeah. Well, yeah. But then, like the clever guy that I am, I asked the editor, Matt Idelson, I said, well, wait a minute, who's writing? And of course, it's the one guy's writing who I can't stand. It's the guy that, who was the Babylon 5 guy?
Oh, Straczynski.
Oh, Straczynski,
right? His stuff is, his comic book stuff is just like, it's like drawn out television, right? I'm just
really pretentious too.
Yeah, and so I said, okay, well, what's the story about? And it's the one where you guys probably remember this classic. Clark Kent walks across America to discover.
Yeah. Forrest Gump.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, so Superman walks across America to rediscover his roots as Clark Kent and never does anything. That's what you're telling me. And Idelson's like, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm telling you. I'm like, I'm not drawing that. So that's when I got in this really bad cycle in the New 52. I mean, because I got onto Justice League, which was fine, Justice League Europe, or pardon me, Justice League International, which sold really well, but they canceled it, even though it was selling well, because Jeff Johns or somebody didn't like the book, and they felt they had too many Justice League books. So they, instead of just changing the name and making it something else, so Dan Jurgens and I could keep doing it, they just canceled it. And so that put me in this kind of spiral on the way the New 52 was, that at the end of every year, they would dump the lowest selling titles and introduce new ones. So you always had 52 titles. The problem was the first year they launched all the good titles. So what they're doing, they're filling in with lesser and lesser titles every cycle. So I went from Justice League to Amethyst, just like that. And then suddenly, to No One Cares Bill. So I often ask myself, what would have happened had I stayed on Power Girl? Would it have changed the trajectory of how things went for me at DC? Not that they went bad for me at DC, but I wondered if my visibility or popularity within the comic book fan base would have been higher.
Who was going to write that Power Girl? Was it the same team? Was it?
I think it was Jimmy, as far as I know. Yeah, as far as I know. I actually wasn't told. They just said, "You want to do Power Girl?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I don't even think I knew at the time who was writing.
Yeah.
So the Power Girl was in number 1, but Wonder Woman was just number 21 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude. Oh, sucks.
Yeah. So I mean, it was. Yeah. I mean, it's not cataclysmic, but it was probably a dumb choice.
I think in the big scheme of things, though, I mean, you got the iconic Wonder Woman, so I think
your resume, yes.
better. In when you look retrospect, it's better, but in the moment, it would have been more flashy, more money, more sales, all that kind of thing.
Right, more visibility. And
I'm gonna be selfish, Aaron. I'm gonna be selfish.
Yeah.
Had you taken Power Girl and had your career taken off into the stratosphere, you might have been stuck in mainstreamville and not come over and hung out with us. And I'm just telling you, selfishly, you're one of my favorite people. Don't make that your head too big. But I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad your path led you here.
Yeah. Well, and I also want to thank you on behalf of Jimmy and Amanda, because they're amongst my best friends. And by them taking on Power Girl, you set them on their way to become millionaires. that led to Harley Quinn and everything like that. So thank you very much.
Well, I do what I can to help others. Yeah. That's what I'm all about. Yeah.
Aaron did it just for those reasons, because Aaron's a giver. He's a giver.
I am a giver.
Look how selfish we are, Aaron. We're also selfish. Look.
Aaron was paying it forward.
Yeah. That's right.
Always.
That's right.
Always. Well, mine is it's quite a little epic tale here. So this is 90s. This is still like early mid 90s, and there's a little bit of a party over at, I guess it was called Homage Studios at the time. I don't think it was Wildstorm yet. And so this is Will's, Jim Lee, Scott Williams, their studio. And so there was I think Gareb Shamus was there. There was a little bit of a shindig, and they were the new offices. I think Dan knows names better. It's the one that it was like the downtown San Diego, that really nice office building.
Yeah, it was in La Mirada.
Yeah.
Are you talking about
or Mira Mesa, or
are you talking about where they eventually went to? That was La Jolla.
La Jolla, and so I think
La Jolla's so nice.
But anyways, so we're there, we're partying. There's food, it's all catered and everything. And so then Jim Lee takes me off to the side, and he's giving me the tour of the facility. And there's just offices. It's like like extreme. Can you imagine?
There were no corners in that office, though. Did you notice that?
There's no corners. Yeah.
No, it was all rounded.
It's all rounded.
It was rounded. Yeah. It was
yeah. And so, but okay, wait, hold on. I got a dog here. Hold on. You guys talk.
Did you guys see that article? I'm looking at it right now. I guess it just came out that Warner Brothers is actively overhauling its DC Films division.
Yep.
Really?
Just saw that.
Yeah.
Saw that.
Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav is reportedly looking to overhaul DC's movies, TV shows, and overall creative arm.
Yeah, I heard that. See what happens here very soon.
So I'm back. The dog's taken care of.
Andy, do you have a radio on in your car?
Yeah, I'm going to bounce out anyhow. I just sent you a message in the private chat. So
okay.
I'll catch you guys later. Yeah, because there's.
All right, bud. Have a good vacation or whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, be safe.
Well, mini vacation. All right. See you guys later.
Have fun,
brother.
You will be missed. Oh yeah, there was some ambient sound or something.
Oh yeah, it was all over the place. I was like,
yeah.
what the hell is that?
yeah, it feels weird. Like you're able to kind of put it aside, but then you feel like you're taking crazy pills. Like you're hearing voices in your head. Yeah. So Jim's giving me the tour, and I keep thinking like what's going on here? He's being like, look at this facilities. I'm thinking like, why is he being like this? And then there was like a killer office, and then he goes, this could be your office. And then I was like, what? He's like, yeah. He goes, you would want to work here, right? Like this would be your office. And this was, I think, the start of Image Comics. Like things were just kind of starting in that direction. And so I think Scott Clark was there. So I think Jim had one hire already. So I think Scott Clark was there, RIP. Really good artist, good guy. And so I just remember like, oh shit, like this is a really generous offer. And I already had Wetworks. That was my book. So I was going to ink Will Spartaccio on Wetworks. And then Scott was going to ink Jim on Wildcats. And then whatever came out of that, oh, the dog's back.
Right out of the Lazarus pit.
Yeah. And so whatever was going to happen, beyond that, we would do. But basically, he was inviting me to be part of the studio. So I would be, part of Wildstorm, which it eventually became. Oh, God. It's worse than
Oh my!
That's great.
It's as if on cue, those dogs. They do it at the most inopportune time.
I know that's the bad thing about streaming at home, man. My dog, every time a delivery truck, he's down there, and it's like,
oh my God,
sorry.
So then, and Pamela was there. Like this was like a very social thing. Like wives were there, and I remember that Garib had brought presents, and we're all just big kids. So these were like rubber band guns, but they were like custom rubber band guns, and they like held like 10 rounds of rubber bands. So of course, the end of the evening, we're all shooting each other with rubber bands, eating pizza and stuff like that. So Pamela and I are driving home, and we had just bought our house in Corona, which was maybe 2 hours up the 15 freeway from there. So it wouldn't have been a crazy commute, but it would have been 4 hours round trip with no traffic. And at the time, the 15 didn't really have too much traffic. And so, we were like, well, what would we do? Would we sell this house? We just bought this house, and, we love it and everything. And so I remember calling Jim after that. It's like, we just bought this house and everything. He said, you know what? Houses are still really, really good price in San Diego. I got a real estate agent. We can hook you up and just sell that house and move on down here. And I was like, it's like guys that have all the answers, and they just make everything sound so perfect, right? Yeah. Like it's not going to be a problem, with the exception that your wife loves the house and you love the house that you just bought, and all this other stuff. And so I remember just having, heart to heart with Pamela. It's like, could I do it? Could we live here and I could make that commute and everything? And it was like, I don't think we could work it out. And so I had to call him, and I passed on it. So I was still kind of set up to work with them as far as Wetworks, but not the big generous, office and what eventually became, the big publishing, studio, which was Wildstorm. And so then, Smash cut to the future, and Jim Lee is selling the studio. And I had a conversation with, I think it was Scott. And Scott said, you would have been in on that sale because you were one of the founders. So, so there, once like Billy, there was like, millions of dollars on the table that would have been there just the purchase of, like DC purchasing Wildstorm and all that other stuff. So
there are.
He's giving you the gun. I'm just passing around.
So it's one of those regrets, but you know what? I mean, it's kind of like what we're all saying, like it's all these things that got you where you are right now. So it is a type of regret, but it's just one of those just kind of, I think it's one of those fun things that like these should haves or like could haves, you know, what ifs that you just think I could have been this. So like Billy, I could have been a director, you know,
could have been a contender,
I
Art,
could have been a contender, you know,
instead of a bum.
instead of a bum. Exactly.
Which is what you are.
Which I am, yes. but that office still haunts me, you know, because it was a killer office. And I remember later when Jim did have it all set up and I went to visit him, he had this drawing, he had this big desk, right? And it was all customized, it was built for him. And then he goes, watch this, Art. He had this drawer, he pulled it, there's a button, he pushed it, and then this drawing board rises out of the table, you know, like angled perfectly and everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have had one of those. Instead, I got this stupid IKEA desk, you know, that I can barely put together.
The James Bond of inking.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's
Lighting
great.
comes in. Yeah, he's got his pencils, they pop up out of the desk. Yeah, it would have been cool. But yeah. You know, but I heard really like some kind of bad stories about Wildstorm before they sold it and everything. So I'm kind of glad I wasn't there. And I don't know what kind of existence I would have had beyond that. You know what I mean? Like if I would have pledged my allegiance to the studio, there would have been the end of that rainbow, you know, that big lump sum of money. But what would the work have been like? You know, inking, you know, second tier Wildstorm books, or you know, even the Wildcats book, which wasn't what it was, you know, previously. So, you know, I don't think it would have been that great. So I think, you know, the trajectory of kind of bouncing around, going to Extreme Studios, you know, and then going back to Marvel and all these other things, you know, self-publishing with Black and White, you know, the opportunity that Rob Liefeld gave me, which I still to this day, thank you so much. That was the opportunity of a lifetime, very generous. So, you know, those things wouldn't have happened.
Hey, Art, where did Black and White debut? I thought it was Extreme Zero, but I was totally wrong.
No, it was Rob let me do like backups. So there were 2-page backups in 8 of the titles, I think. I think Extreme was publishing 8 titles at the time. There was Youngblood. Was there Team Youngblood, Supreme? I don't know. I think it was in Bloodstrike. There was a chapter. But yeah, there were 8 titles, and so there were 2 pages in each one of those backup stories. And that was Rob's like get some promotion. We'll get some promotion for you, and then you can launch the mini series. And the cool thing about that was like each one of the back covers had like a puzzle piece.
Yeah, it made a poster.
Yeah, made the poster, and then we sold the retail poster as well. And in those days, Rob was making these oversized posters. Those posters were massive.
I still have a few uncut. I have a few, like I have Bloodstrike, I've got Black Flag, and it was like Black Flag and Warchild on one sheet uncut, you know, with all the printing registration marks and things. But yeah, I was so confused. For some reason, I thought your concept was in Extreme Zero. I know you had inked that cover. Marat's Law and Order was there. I think Rob did Cybrid. Chuck had done, I forgot what his was called.
I did work on Cybrid. I think I inked. Yeah. Was it Rob?
Yeah, Kiko Taganashi on colors.
Yeah,
that's our T-Bear, baby.
Hello. Yeah, but I know the other day you had brought it up, and I didn't want to correct you.
No, it wasn't until somebody had it at this past show this last weekend, and I said, "Man, this should be a very valuable book." I said, "It's first appearance of Black Flag, first appearance of Black and White," and I'm flipping through it, and I'm going, "There's no Black and White in here." Oh shit! Like, yeah, you know, Mandela effect or whatever they call it.
Yeah. All right, Graham. Second time around. What is the second regret?
Well, I'll be honest. I don't have a lot of regrets in my career. As far as like turning down assignments or something, you know, I've been lucky. You know, I got to do Batman during its heyday in the 90s, create a character for them. I guess one of those what if situations is I was offered Iron Man from Bobby Chase at Marvel, and I turned it down. And I don't remember what I had going that made me turn it down. But I often wondered, well, okay, I spent a lot of years at DC. Most people know my career from DC, but I did do quite a bit of stuff at Marvel. But nothing like a regular monthly book. That would have been a monthly book for me, and it might have cemented me into those offices and into those that editorial group. And I wondered, what would have become of that? How would my career have changed? Is that a regret? I don't know, because I'm.
Do you
I'm
think you
happy.
would have been more known as a Marvel guy than a DC guy, or?
Well, it depends on how many years I ended up putting in there too. Possibly. But
Because when I think of you, I just think of you as all DC.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, most people do. Because all the big projects I worked on were at DC.
How many years did you work at DC?
I was under contract with them for over 10 years.
Did you get a watch or anything like that? Or
You get a watch.
did you get a watch?
Well, DC used to give out gifts,
Yeah.
I got one here. Hold on. Keep going.
Yeah. So I had a Batman watch. One year we got a Superman watch.
Yeah, I got one of these. The little portfolio they gave you.
Oh, I got that.
A Moleskine book. Yeah, I got that.
I was going through stuff.
Oh, I remember that one.
Did they send out robes one year, or am I dreaming that?
No,
Yeah.
they did. The
Yeah,
silk
they did.
Robes?
Superman
Really?
robes.
Yeah.
Yeah, silk Superman robes. They still have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So if we all go to North Carolina for Halloween, can you wear that robe?
Hey, you know what?
Yeah, but I ain't wearing anything under it either.
Look out.
Commando.
Oh, ring the bell,
I'm gonna
Billy.
walk around like Rick James at a nightclub.
I'll
There
bring
you go.
James.
Billy, I'll wear my my satin DC jacket from, was it still the 80s? Do you remember those, Graham?
I never got one of those.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go downstairs and get mine. You guys
great.
keep going.
Didn't, when Casado was in charge, didn't Marvel have like a Marvel hockey coat or something like that? Billy, does that ring a bell?
I only did a few issues of Daughters of the Dragon for
Yeah, but Jimmy
that's it.
Jimmy would have worn something like that. Like, you're a hockey guy. It seems to me that there was a Marvel hockey style
I don't remember seeing anybody wearing those, but
coat. You might have had to buy it. I don't think it was a gift. I think it was available or something. I had a
they gave out a blanket one year. That's when it started getting cheap.
blanket.
But at one time they were giving out some pretty nice Christmas gifts.
Yeah. I got from Marvel it was a Captain America 50th anniversary gold watch or something
I had
like that. Yeah, that was very cool. I don't know if I still have mine or not.
I remember seeing Mike Carlin wearing that jacket.
That's a nice jacket, Art.
Yeah, that's a Carlin jacket for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Shiny. Oh yeah.
Oh, and then this was the best. This was the best right here.
Nice.
Art.
Yeah, but the weird thing is that everybody who was in the art department got that.
Yeah.
So
Chuck Dixon says writer.
says writer on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still have that. I still to this day I did wear it once. I got asked to do a career day at my old elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I wanted to represent. So I put that jacket on because it was pretty dated even by the time we got that. So satin jackets had already kind of run their
It's
course.
like circa 1987 or something, 86.
It
It was earlier than that. Yeah. It's pretty
I
bad.
think I got in just when they were,
huh?
I got in just when they were giving out the shoulder bags and the portfolios, which were nice.
Yeah.
But because I still have both those that I got from them.
They had the London Fog one, which was pretty cool. It was more of a travel bag, and then they had the one that was like an art bag where you could put your pages in there, and they had the little masonite like drawing board in there.
That's
And
what I
the-
bring to conventions.
Yeah, I still have mine. And then Rob Liefeld made some Extreme Studio ones that were basically used as a prototype. Wait, hold on.
See, there's this one.
Oh, I was long gone from that one.
Oh, I got that.
And then there was this one though, which was nicer.
Ooh.
I've never used this one. And then there was the one the art actually fits in that has a zipper on it all the way around, and it had like DC.
Right.
That one I still use. I got that around here someplace. But these are the two that. This one I've never used. I keep thinking I'm going to sign this and throw it up on eBay, to get rid of it because it just never.
Do you remember the Batmobile phone that they gave out one year?
I had one. I gave it away
before my time.
Yeah, I still have it, and there's also a denim jacket too. I still got they gave me the denim jacket, but nobody asked you your size, so it's like
I know you get a smaller.
I got like this triple X, I use it to stack firewood now because it's.
You know what the best thing DC ever gave me was the DC style guide. Do you remember that? The Jose Luis Garcia Lopez style guide?
I have a PDF of it.
I have one. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, so Dan, what is your second regret?
Honestly, none. I have no other regrets, and like I said, the other ones I think are just lessons you learn as a young artist. But I don't have any really. I mean, I'm very happy with my life ups and downs. There's no job I took that I wish I didn't, and there's none that I didn't. Other than that Marvel thing in the very beginning of my career.
There's one I took that I wish I didn't.
Yeah.
Wait. Now, Graham, you have to say.
Yeah, Graham, take it. If
take my time. I'm skipping because I don't have any. Go ahead, take it. Take the turn.
I may have told this on this stream one time, but I know I've told it on maybe on mine. But I did the Justice League versus Predators Prestige book. And it sounded so great. John Ostrander was writing it, and I'd worked with John on Hawk World, and I was like, oh, I get to draw the Justice League, and it was kind of a throwback idea. Like, you remember the old Justice League stories where they meet the Justice League of Evil or something, and so like there was a Superman that was a bad guy and a Batman bad guy, and that they'd all face off type of shit, like the anti-Justice League. But that was the premise going into it with the Predators. But I had to design utilizing all the Predator nomenclature, what the Superman Predator would look like, what his symbol would be, so that readers could look at it and say, oh, that's the Superman Predator, because it's still like the Predators. So I did all these designs using that kind of iconography that comes along with that franchise, and I designed one for each one: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, Aquaman, all of that kind of stuff, and their uniforms. And so I send them off to Dan Raspler. And now this is a DC Dark Horse book, because Predators are owned by Dark Horse. So I send it to Dan. He goes, oh, these look great, go ahead. So I start penciling, and I pencil 36 pages of this 52-page book.
Oh, no.
And he calls me and tells me that Dark Horse didn't approve of the designs. They want their Predators in their Predator outfits. And I'm like, you got fucking kidding me. You got one job, dude. One job. and you didn't get this thing approved. And now I got to go back for 30 some odd pages. And to make it worse, I made it easy on myself because I made like superhero-esque costumes for these guys. Now I got to put the Predator costumes on them, and those are a ball buster.
I know. Oh my God,
that's that stuff. I mean, so I had to rework all of that stuff. And when you look at the artwork, it's like, oh, this dude's asleep at the wheel. Yeah. Meaning me, because it turned out terrible. It just there are panels I can point to and say, I didn't change that. I didn't do that. Somebody else did that. Somebody else did that. Fix things.
That story may be more tragic than Billy's director story.
Thank you.
When 36 pages. Oh
yeah.
I got like a mild version of that story. I drew an issue of Wolverine where was right after September 11th, and they decided to pull back on all things like violence and smoking and things. I drew a whole issue of Wolverine with his cigar and had his mannerisms, holding a cigar, jawing on a cigar, all that. They had Bullpen take them all out. So
he's
there's
just standing there like this.
There's this issue of him going like this and like this and like, you know. Yeah, so I want to do a stream where I go, this is what I drew. This is what you saw. Yeah,
I did the same thing, Dan. I had to draw the Kingpin in a thing, and I was doing like a Ramita Kingpin where he had the cigarette holder and all that kind of stuff. And so I have him like this, and there's a couple where he's going like that, where he's blowing out the smoke rings, and they took all that stuff out. So there's the Kingpin like this.
The thing is, editorial cracks me up because do they actually think this is making the book better? You know, as far as a more enjoyable, you know, reading, you know, experience, all those things. It's like it's more work, more money that goes out, and the results are less. Like they're actually taking away from the experience than building to it. And it's like, just let that issue be. Then the next issue, make sure that, you know, you don't do these things.
Well, they kind of did that.
I'm sorry, Dan.
Yeah, the following story arc that the next issue that I had done after the cigarette one, I get this Frank Thierry script, and I'm reading it, and it's Wolverine and his teacher Ogun, and they're meditating, and then they're attacked by like 30 ninjas, and Ogun basically takes them all out, you know, and I'm like, this is my jam, you know, I'm like, I'm going to go Frank Miller on this bitch. Like, I was so excited. Sorry, kiddo. But I was like, yeah, this is great. And then Martz calls me up and he says, listen, in the same spirit of the cigar thing we just did, they're really tightening down the screws on how violence is perceived. So there's no blood, no exit wounds, no slicing. Like there was this like list, and I'm like, Mike, you just sent me the dream battle sequence with Wolverine's teacher versus ninjas, and then you told me that I basically can't show it.
Oh my gosh!
You know, so it's all in silhouette. Like every time I look at that issue, it makes me ill because what I wanted to do versus what I did were completely different. But again, that's no regrets there. It's just you made me think about shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was way out of your hands, right? I mean, you'd already said you would do it, so you kept your word. You made your deadline, and then they changed the deal on you. Yeah, I hate that stuff. And being an inker, I would get those jobs all the time, and I would always like try to work it out with the artist or something like that because I never wanted one. You know, if there was changes, I always took it upon myself. So at least we could kind of control the look. So the same people working on the book, you know, were doing the changes, and or I would work with the penciler to try to make the corrections and see what they thought. Because man, there's nothing worse than having a character design change, you know, because somebody in the bullpen draws the character or they take things out or they edit things around. It's just the worst. Everybody knows it, you know, they're reading the book and then all of a sudden the character looks completely different because it's drawn by somebody else.
Yeah. Well, that's why, you know, McFarlane left Marvel over an edit. Good. You know, he had drawn, it was the crossover that he had done with Liefeld was X-Force Spider-Man, and he had drawn a shot of Shatterstar putting his blades through Juggernaut's eyes. Ooh. And the way Todd drew it, you see the sword go into the mask and, you know, some blood. The way they edited it was just a sword with some blood and a sound effect. And he was so pissed that he left the next issue.
He's got integrity. Yeah. If more of us did that, things would be different. Thank you so much, Randy Howell, for the $2 super chat. No comic guy ever sang none. What is that?
Non je ne regrette rien.
It's because we can't pronounce it.
It's Edith Pia.
I love her.
No, it's onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia.
Yeah.
All I know is I gotta take Alika. A Pia. How about you, Mr. Sensational?
Oh, well, that's why I'm drinking. All right. So I have so many regrets. Like I said,
did any of them involve Ralph Macchio that you can tell us?
no, yeah. Now Ralph Macchio did not grow up in my town. He grew up in the next town over, a really rich town, and his father owned laundromats. So his father had a laundromat next to my friend's pizza parlor. So that's kind of where
I see.
it all. Anyway,
it was Karate Kid all over again.
It was after Karate Kid, so he was,
Hey, that's funny because the Ralph Macchio from Marvel, his dad had money too. He owned like sanitation business.
Yeah, Ralph. Yeah, well, he's Ralph Macchio. Ralph Macchio is at Marvel.
Wasn't Ralph Macchio? Didn't he? Like I always heard that he lived with his mom.
Yeah, I heard
I think so. Yeah.
Now, and then he had like the sweetest Camaro or something like that.
See, I dug him. I don't know. We just got along, and what I loved about Ralph Macchio is that he never got fired because he didn't give a shit.
That's for sure.
They never fired him. So anyway, my
sure.
biggest regret of my entire life, like I said, I could have bought Apple shares, and that would have been worth millions. The other thing, property, blah blah blah. But when I was in 5th grade, there was a girl that moved to our town, and her name was hopefully is Anne Marie Harvey. This is my greatest regret of my entire life. Now, I've spent my life trying to be a good guy. I joined the service. I try to do the right thing. When I'm walking with my wife on the street, even when she was my girlfriend, I walk on the outside of the street. I try to be a gentleman. I love, all things that I love, Theodore Roosevelt, Errol Flynn. I like that whole thing. But in 5th grade, so this girl, Anne Marie Harvey, moves to my town. And she was a foster child. And first week or so, we met her. And then for some reason, I decided to pick on her. Now, stemming back, my brother was killed by a drunk driver in a car accident when he had just got his license the year before. And maybe I was acting out. I was a kid. But I created this anti-Anne Marie movement in the entire 5th grade. And what we did to this girl and how we bullied her and stuff like that. I remember there was one time we're getting off the bus and she's sitting there. My friend Ellen just grabs her head and smashes it against the window of the bus. I have nightmares of this. This is my therapeutic type thing. This is the thing that's.
Wait, is your name Bully Tucci back in the day?
Yeah, I was a bully. I became a bully, and I was never a bully before, and I was never a bully since. And then things like we'd be walking to the store and see her. I remember once and she's like, no. We just walk up and start kicking her, just terrible stuff. And I just feel awful to this day. And I even wrote a Batman story about it called Finding Anne Marie Harvey. And it was rejected. Everyone seemed to like it. It could have been a great, even 8-pager in a special. But I'll use that in the next sheet, in the next sheet story arc.
Have you tried to look her up? I mean, with
I have. Yeah, I have tried. I've reached out to all of our friends in Facebook to try to find her. Again, she moved away not much long after that. But we tortured this poor girl like no one I've ever like you see in the movies. And I don't know why. I mean, like I said, the hate, and she was a foster child. So imagine the life she came from anyway. And she was really pretty. I think I might have liked her, But like I said, that is
don't like me.
Yeah, never liked Billy.
Please don't like me.
No, yeah, and you can ask my wife, and she'll tell you that's if you say, does Billy have any regrets, and she'll tell you that because she knows it. Some of the people I've reached out to from high school and junior elementary school know about it, and maybe middle school, the kids in the neighborhood, and like Dan DiDio, the only people that really know this story. And now all you guys do. But that is my greatest regret, and I hate myself for it. It's something that bothers me to this day, like all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just gnaws at me, and I hope to see her and just to apologize to her and that I don't know what it was. Like I said, I think that's what it was. I was talking to Debbie when I first told her in college, and she said, well, that's why and she goes, you probably were acting out because you're angry, you don't understand things, but to take it out on this poor girl. That's my greatest regret. So you asked, Art.
Well, it was career regrets, but I
Yeah.
guess
We
I
all
guess
have life regrets.
level.
We have life
His-
regret stories.
his career. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Sorry,
exactly.
I didn't mean I brought the whole stream down, didn't I?
no, it's okay. There's
I
some.
was just about to complain about not taking that MODOK miniseries. Wow.
Well, let me get this. This is not a regret. So thank you so much, Zaid Comics, for the $5. Hail the bros. So excited about comics right now. Just met Steranko this weekend and I'm in Cloud 9. Hope everyone signs up for CG Vacation. Having a good time. CG Vacation. Having to get away. That's a go-go song.
Yeah, I got you.
That's their next book, and yeah, that's going to be a blast. It's going to be kind of like the Marvel swimsuit stuff that in Marvel was cool in the day.
That's right. I'm contributing.
So, yeah, we're all going to contribute. I think I'm going to be working with Kelsey on one, and then I'm going to do a black and white one as well, which I do have the sketch for, by the way, Philip. So,
yep, she's in it too. So here's the Zaid Comics.
Here's the Zaid Comics. All right, Aaron. It doesn't have to be personal. It doesn't.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I won't tell the story where me and a bunch of other guys took our belts off and tied this guy to a telephone pole out in recess and left him. Because that would be, I don't want to go there. But so anyway. Okay, I'm going to tell the Ethan story, even though it's not a regret. Because I do regret it, even though I had nothing to do with it, because it's so cataclysmic to my career. I have to tell it. I've told it before, but I don't think if I've told it on this show, you guys stop me and I'll stop. But
it doesn't sound familiar to me.
Okay.
Wait! I have to read this out loud.
Oh, jeez.
Can you say hi to
And I deserve it. Burn it.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I have to do that though.
Oh my goodness.
Go ahead,
Aaron.
So I had gone through a period of time where I was basically unemployed because I did Tachyon over at DC, and it was a complete bomb, and I kind of got blamed for it. And so I was kind of blacklisted at DC, and I didn't have anything going at Marvel. So I had about a 3-month period of time where I was just begging around, crawling around, trying to get any work I could get. Right. Well, I actually had to get in line at San Diego after being having done, worked at Marvel, drawn Sludge, did Tachyon at DC. And so I was basically standing in line at San Diego.
Oh my God.
Like showing my portfolio.
Oh my gosh.
And I had pros walking by going, Aaron, what are you doing? I'm like, showing my portfolio, man. I can't get any work. Well, so what happened was,
I'm sorry. What is that, Aaron?
What?
Tachyon. What is that?
Well, it's this guy right here. They made a HeroClix out of him.
It was a Dan Jurgens character, wasn't it?
No, I co-created. No, it was
wasn't it cover?
what's his face?
Wait, hold on. Let me.
Is that a cross-gen character?
No, it's a DC character. Byrne put him in the New Gods.
Okay.
But yeah, it was by who is the guy that Graham, you'd know. He was the editor, but he's also a writer.
Kupperberg.
That's the dude.
I said it 5 times.
Yeah.
No one listens, Graham.
Nobody listens to me.
Well, everybody's talking over you, so including me. So
All
okay,
right.
Kupperberg, yeah. And from my understanding was he was, kind of putting the blame on me for the horrible failure of the book. But anyway, so there I was. So I showed my stuff to Mark Powers, right? And so they were like, "Hey, this is pretty good." And I'm like, and so I was calling them among other people, and people like, I think Dunbeer was editor-in-chief at Wildstorm, and he was throwing me some bones to keep me, above water. And so finally, Pete Franco, who's the assistant editor at Marvel at X-Men, calls me up and says, "Hey, do you want to do a couple fill-ins on X-Men?" I'm like, "Yeah, duh, of course." So I did like 3 fill-in issues, and Mark Morales inked them, and they turned out great. Just really nice looking stuff, right? And I was busting my butt too, because I was like, on the outs trying to get back on the ins. And I also did a X-Men story that they threw me from I love Aaron. He always gets the blame for failed comics. It's true. It's true. And maybe I deserve it. But anyway, so I had done a special comic through Wizard. It was an X-Men Ultimate X-Men book that Jeff Johns wrote. I penciled and Danny Mickey inked. So it just looked great, right? And so I had that, and then I did these 3 issues of X-Men. So Pete Franco calls me up and he says, after these 3 issues, he goes, Aaron, we are so happy with what you're doing and blah, blah, blah. He goes, and I don't want to use the word grooming, but I'm going to, because that's what he said. We're grooming you to be the next big X-Men artist. Okay. Oh, nice. So how many of us that's what you want to hear in your career, right? You're finally like, I've made it. The hard work, the perseverance is paid off. I'm going to be the next big X-Men artist. I'm going to be huge. And then a week later, Powers and Pete Franco got fired. Oh. And then I was out of work and ended up at CrossGen. But here's what I find out later. I'm at a con in Phoenix, right? And I just happened to be sitting next to Ethan, right? And I didn't know him very well. So we were chatting a little bit. And then, so he starts telling me this story about how Mark Powers screwed me over. That guy, I hated that guy. So he goes, so I dropped an F-bomb in one of the panels of the X-Men books and they didn't catch it. And I got both those SOBs fired. And my jaw dropped. And I looked at him and I go, you son of a bitch. I go, you killed my career. And I'm like diving across the table at him. And
you know what, Aaron? That's the best story of the night.
That's insane.
And then Ethan's like, "Whoa!" He's going slow down. He goes, "You're doing fine. You're all right. Don't worry. And I was, at that point, you just got to laugh it off, right? But oh my gosh, so Ethan Van Sciver conspired to get these guys fired because they screwed him over on something. I can't remember what it was. I was seeing red at the time. I couldn't remember. And so he did that. It was kind of like they were right on the edge. And he knew if he could slip something by him and get him in trouble, he'd get him fired. And that's exactly what he did. And it cost me my X-Men career.
That's nuts.
But here I am.
And then
my
here
race
you are. It's a small
the guy who
world.
worked on the Captain America hardcover book, the ones that reprinted the Kirby and the Simon and Kirby stuff.
Oh, the yellow penis.
Yes, the yellow penis. He that back then they used to cut the ruby lift, for the plates, and so he cut out a yellow a penis on the yellow plate. And so when it was printed, there's Bucky tied up to a table, and he's got a yellow boner, which is very light. It's hard to see.
Yeah, I've got that. I still have my copy. Yeah, that's great.
I never told this story before, but it was on an Andy Kubert cover, and that character Hercules is kind of chained up, and it's like crotch is coming forward like his pelvis, and so I just drew in his style like a fire plug, like a fire hydrant coming out of his crotch. And I just never inked it, but I think I probably have a Xerox of it somewhere.
Dude, look at. I had a similar
hit of the studio for that day. Yeah, so
I had a similar experience when I was first started at Marvel. I mean, way back in the day, and I was working on What the. I did this. There was like this joke panel where all these characters are. It was kind of a 3/4 high angle shot looking down on the street, and one of the pictures is of the Silver Surfer. He's holding his surfboard. And he has his hand out like this, like he's pleading, right? And there's this cop sitting there writing him a ticket, for parking or whatever. But his hand was very near the cop's crotch, right?
Oh.
But so they ran this ad. They pulled that panel for some reason. In this black and white ad, they used to send out, or a preview thing they used to send out to the retailers, right? And so that panel is in there for this month in What the. Well, it was so crappily reproduced. Like a couple of his fingers dropped out, so it looked like he was squeezing the guy's nuts. One of the retailers just exploded. He goes, "What kind of crap are you guys producing over at Marvel?" And that came back to me, and I'm like, look at the drawing. I didn't draw that.
You do that.
That's why you don't put the word Flick or Clint in the backgrounds,
You know, there's a book called Hollywood Babylon that has all these rancid stories about Hollywood. How great would that be? Comics Babylon of all what you guys did and what Curb, you know,
Well,
like
you know what?
all the crazy shit that
Billy, that's the next Bros when you're up, man. Comic Book Babylon, about all the obscenity that we may have contributed, but no one's ever seen. Yeah. So mine is after Marvel humiliate. Oh, wait, we got to do this. This one's classic. Is it big enough? I don't know. Oh, shit.
The rifleman's got wood.
He's got a little wood. Yeah.
He has to have his son help him carry it around.
I bet you every young boy in America in the early 60s wish they could have played that part, and now
you've ruined it for all of them. Yep.
Yeah, forever ruined it. Innocence lost. Yeah, so this is after Marvel had fired me, humiliated me, and told me I would never work there again. I was devastated. I was destroyed, and so I couldn't do comics anymore. I couldn't draw comics. I didn't want to work in comics. I didn't want to draw them. I didn't want to do anything. So for a couple of years, I just kind of tried to reinvent myself. So my wife and I, she agreed that I could just fund my own time to draw, to develop, to do things. And so I've had Hollywood agents before. So I kind of dabbled in pitching and doing that thing. So I just figured, well, you know, I'll try the Hollywood shuffle thing. So I started developing things, mostly cartoon shows. And so I was at San Diego Comic-Con, and this was with Chrono Mechanics, which was quantum mechanics at the time. And so I don't know, maybe Dan knows this guy. His name's George Elliott, and he runs Elliott Animation. He's Canadian.
No.
They did a show called, I think their biggest success was Total Drama Island, which was kind of like a game show where these kids would go on the island and then they would compete or whatever, just kind of like like one of those reality shows. And so he came up and he really liked Chrono Mechanics. And so he said, do you have anybody, to develop or to work with as far as cartoons? Because I think it'd make a great cartoon show. And I said, no. So we went out to lunch, we talked, and we got along great. I got to meet his partner. And so, for like months after that, we just kept talking. And so he said, since you're developing all these properties and things, he said, how would you like to partner with the studio, which was Elliott Animation? And then what we could do is, since it's cheaper to kind of develop things as a comic, we could develop properties together. We could do them as comics. Like your studio, Hack Shack Studios, could do the comic books, and then we could put pitches together for animation. So he could put like animatics together, little trailers, things like that. So I was like, yeah, this sounds great. They didn't have a lot of big credits at the time, so most of it they were like helping out Nelvana. I think that's another Toronto or Canadian animation company. And so they didn't have that Total Drama Island yet. So they hadn't hit the mother load yet. And so I talked to my agent and I told him what the pitch was. And he said, will they put in writing that they will develop stuff? They will make these trailers. They will put these animatics together and all this other stuff. And I said, well, I'll talk to him. And so I did. And it never manifested. And so then I told my agent, I said, well, what should I do? He said, unless they're willing to give you something in writing, don't get involved with them. Nice. And so it's one of those things that it's kind of like, a leap of faith. If I would have had a leap of faith and I would have, because they seem like, good guys and everything, I trusted them. But if I would have done that, then possibly, I would have been kind of developing for this animation company. And then, a year later, they had that Total Drama Island success, which was huge. My daughter watched the show and everything. And so, who knows where that would have went. So that's it's not a big regret. It's just kind of like, I guess this could be like regrets. What if, like, what if I would have taken this path or, like said yes or no to this other thing. And so that's kind of it there. So I kind of wonder, and I sometimes I feel like giving that guy a call and just saying, "Hey, man, how's it going?"
Hey, we're done. Just do phone mechanics. Now
Is that deal? Yeah, is that deal still on the table? You want to do?
I just remembered a comic related regret, but not career wise, but kind of.
Okay.
Back in high school, I did this public access show called Comic Review for You, and one of the episodes I did, which was a pre-tape, I went to a convention to have a professional artist do portfolio reviews. That was the first time I met Rob Liefeld, and that's where he did a portfolio review of my work. That's where my friend Mike bought his sketch. That's how I ended up meeting and working with Rob. I had it all on video for the show. The show had aired. My mom had, I managed to keep a copy of it. It had an interview with Eric Larson, with Rob Liefeld, and with Al Gordon. Well, I was at WonderCon one year, probably 95, 96, and Al Gordon said something to the effect of he wishes he could see that video because it had been some years, probably about 5 years. So I lent him the videotape. He gave it back to Matt Hawkins at a convention, who packed it with the convention stuff, and it's been lost ever since.
Oh my God.
So yeah, like it's crazy because like as far as my personal history is concerned, it's literally on video the moment that changed my life forever.
Yeah, here's that Total Drama Island. So I don't know if sometimes visuals ring a bell, but you guys are all like older and
No, I saw this. I never watched it, but I was aware of
seen it. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, the only reason I know of it really is because of my daughter. And then I was looking at the credits. It's like George Elliott Productions, and I was like, oh shit.
I just thought of something. I mean, Aaron reminded me with his Ethan story about how,
Ethan screwed you over too?
No. But how your pathway seems like, oh man, the door is opening here. I'm ready to go in, and then the people that are going to get you there are fired before you can get in through the door. And I was sitting in a brew pub with a buddy of mine. We had just seen one of the Star Wars prequels, so this was back in the late 90s.
Yeah.
No,
early 2000s.
Maybe early 2000s. Yeah. And Julie calls me and says that she just got a call from this agent out in Hollywood, and they want to talk to me. I'm like, okay. So she gave me the number, and I'm sitting in this pub, and I call her, and it's this woman from CAA, Creative Artists Agency.
Yeah.
Her name was Bertie Lissam. And she was a pretty high agent up there in that organization. And she told me that she had just gotten back from Steven Spielberg's office at DreamWorks. And she had presented him with Monster Island. And he had read it, and he said to her, "This is how we should have ended Jurassic Park 3. And they wanted to option it.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh wow, this is fantastic, So they put me in touch with the attorney. His name was Melniker. He's related to somebody else in Hollywood too. They're all interconnected out there. Anyway, he was a high-powered guy, and he asked me what I want, and I said, well, the only thing I care about is the publishing rights. He goes, okay, that's no problem. So you can have that. So we work out the contract details, and then, I'm waiting and nothing. And a few weeks go by. So I call him up and I say, hey, yeah, I'm still waiting on that, the contract. And he says, well, yeah, I got some bad news. The producer or the guy that it was passed down to from Spielberg to shepherd this through, got fired. And so everybody and everything on that guy's desk goes with them, because in Hollywood, nobody wants to come in, take a project that was somebody else's and have it be a success and have to give credit to the other guy. So that's what happens. Everything goes with you. So, I mean, Julie and I drove around neighborhoods before all this happened, and we were spending that money in our head.
Sure.
We're like, oh, yes. When Steven makes this a big hit, you know.
every time I'd go to Burbank or Hollywood or wherever, and I would do a pitch, right? And then my partner and we would go to the most expensive restaurant we could find. It was always someplace different. And we would just celebrate, and we just go, ha, we wasted an hour of that guy's time. You know, high level executive, you know.
Yeah.
I got a quick Hollywood one. I was in film school, and they would always post on like one of the floors in the main building. They would post like, you know, jobs and stuff that students could go after or whatever, you know. And one of them was they said looking for a storyboard artist, right? So I'm like, I can probably do that, you know. So I went and interviewed with these two director team. It was a man and a woman, and they directed the Randy Quaid and Meg Ryan DOA version when they remade DOA.
Oh yeah.
And so they all showing him my stuff, and it was mostly comic book stuff. That's all I had, but I was showing it to them, and they're like, "Oh, this is great!" And they said, "When can you start?" And I'm like, "I don't know. When do you need me?" You know. And they said, "Well, we'll need you, you know, like 9 a.m. to 12 midnight, you know, for the next 6 weeks, whatever." And I'm like, "Whoa, slow down." I said, "I'm in school right now. You know, I can do this part-time, but I can't do it full-time." Right. So I walked away from this job, and then later I thought back going, what was I in film school for? To get a film job, and I just turned one down so I could go back to school. It made no sense. But anyway, I don't know that it ever would have gone anywhere, because I don't think they ever directed anything. Again, the movie was a dog, but still, you know, one of those things when you get in like Bill Stout and Mike Plug always told me, they said, like, once you get in, it's almost impossible to get out, because if you're a storyboard artist or a production artist and they can count on you, they always go to you, you know, and you can never get out. So I was kind of like, oh, maybe I just threw away.
That's the other thing too. My entire story.
What's that?
Yeah.
That's how comics used to be.
Yeah, that's true.
Once you were in an editor's office and you showed that you could do the work and do it on time and you were consistent, they were always getting work for you because they didn't want to take a risk on somebody else.
Right. Dan DiDio told me that very thing. I was at a Seattle show and we were talking and kind of laughing, and I just said, like, you know, I hope I can stay employable or something like that. And he goes, dude, he goes, you will never have to worry about work because you're reliable. And then Dan got fired. So, but yeah.
So you guys want to give a quick plug for what we're working on right now? I know we got a lot of Indiegogo. I think most of our books are in demand. I don't think any of us got a live. Billy's got his pre-launch sign up.
You're launching in what, 5 days?
Yeah, 6 days, man. Next Wednesday.
Wow.
Well, let's leave with you, Billy. Yeah. So go.
Me?
No, I said Billy. Since we're all in demand, but Billy can go.
Yep.
Wait,
guys.
Graham,
if you sign up for it.
Wait, I'm sorry, Graham. You still have your two-fisted. That's still live, right?
No, that's in demand.
That's in demand. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead, Billy. I'm sorry.
No, you know, Shizakura, it's in pre-launch page on Indiegogo right now. If you guys wouldn't mind signing up for it, you know, our pre-launch page will give you when exactly we're going to launch. Send you all some cool preview art, you know, and just thank you. We have over 1,100 signups in the past week. So I'm psyched. We're gonna launch on Ethan's show next Wednesday, and we're gonna have a lot of fun.
All
So
right.
and I'm finishing up the hardcover right now. So
Don't drop that in the pool.
Yeah, don't do that.
What?
Don't drop that in the pool.
Oh, I know.
Hey, Billy, are you drawing? Are you drawing in your basement? Is your studio in the basement, Billy?
Oh no, my studio's on the top floor.
Oh, good.
Rapunzel the tower.
All right, Graham.
I got Giant Size Two-Fisted Manly Tales is still in demand on Indiegogo. We just put up a variant cover by Dan Lawless that is kick ass.
Oh, it's
So if you haven't
Beautiful.
seen that, take a look at that. That one, is going to help us get to that 150 mark so that the original Michael Golden cover can get upgraded to a hardcover. So, it's a heck of a deal, if we can get to that number and have everybody's book upgraded to hardcover. So if you haven't checked it out, please do so. And I'd be appreciative of it.
Yeah, I call it the El Kabong, man. That's a nice Les Paul that guy. That would be hard to shatter a guitar like that on somebody's head.
On a
You gotta have a
hippie
hard-
It would hurt. It would
Yeah.
hurt.
It might kill you.
That guy looks like a hippie, Graham.
Damn hippie.
Reminds me of an Elmore Leonard quote. What do you say to a guy with two black eyes? Nothing. He's been corrected twice already.
All right, Frega Boom.
Let me tell you about a book that is so inspired. It's a dream project. The art is out of this world. The effort, the love, the passion, the blood and tears. It's called Black and White. Man versus Machine. It's by Art to Bear. It is the most incredible work I've ever seen out of this man. You need to pick it up. I got to give my boy a kiss. Mwah. Pick it up. I'm excited. I bought some layouts. I'm that committed. Go get this book. And I have a book called Black Flag, so go get that too.
Yeah,
Boom.
back Black Flag today. Yes,
Black
yes.
and white and black flag.
There
Yeah,
you go.
a lot of blacks. Okay, Aaron.
Not quite sure if I wanted that to come out.
Well, I have a book called Wraith of God. And, the interesting thing about Wraith of God is the actual Wraith of God story proper, 76 pages long, and I finished it. What I do have,
Ding, ding.
what I do have is
You shame.
I have a 3-page epilogue that was a stretch goal that I'm now working on. And when that 3 pages is done, then it is completely, everything is done. So we are very close to going to the printer, but it's still open, and it will be open until I go to the printer, which we think is going to be the end of April, first week of May, somewhere in that neighborhood. I still have these beanies for sale if you want one of those. I've got Wraith of God shot glasses with laser etched logo on it. I had to close the t-shirts down today because, in Joe Biden's America, when you get a quote, it doesn't last very long because things are changing for the worst all the time. So I had to I got my quote on my t-shirts, and my 30 days was up, and I had to get those things in so I could maintain the prices I was originally quoted. So anyway, those are closed down, but the Dale Keown cover is still available. The campaign's still open at least for probably another 3 weeks. So, if you haven't backed, please go visit and check it out. But thank you all. It's doing really well, and I'm grateful to all of you for that.
Yeah,
Aaron,
very
you think
good.
you might
The
do
book
a
looks
little
great.
knee- Maybe a
Thank
little knee or a little thigh action in the epilogue at all. Maybe
And don't
What's that?
forget First
a
Man.
little
First
knee
Man.
or a little thigh.
Ankle. Yeah, that's where I was going to go, Dan. But Billy was saying that they need a little bit more ankle and leg, Aaron, for that poor girl.
Oh, a little collarbone, dude. That
Yeah.
makes
Well,
me rock.
okay.
And
Now, hang on. There is a scene with a prostitute in there she's a little more loosely dressed. So
Harrison, leave
There you go.
the studio. Poor Harrison. Yeah, and we have Andy Smith. We have First Man, which is killing it. And I do believe he's finishing that book up as well, if it's not done already. He's out celebrating with his lady, I think, right now. He was on
in the back seat. I mean, he's sitting in the back seat. Well, unfortunately, she's in the front seat, so there's not, he's
It's like driving Miss Daisy,
in reverse.
but it's Andy.
Driving Mr. Lazy.
Yeah.
Take that, Andy.
Yeah.
That book looks great, man. The costume design's fantastic. It kind of reminds me of what is the Kirby character, Mr. Miracle. It's kind of got a Mr. Miracle feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig that. He doesn't have that corny collar, which is good. Mr. Miracle has, but you know what? He's a showman. He's a magician or whatever.
That's right. You got to have the collar.
You got to have the collar and the cape. But anyway, yeah, and another one.
Big Barter.
Yeah, Dayton Big Barter. But it's Tropical Magic. So Pedro Ang is a CG up and comer, brilliant animator. He's worked on Black and White. He did the High Octane Adventures, which is his first comic book. We're going to be finishing that up. We're going to be buttoning that up tomorrow. So that's going to go to the letterer ASAP and then to the printer. So that's the High Octane Adventure that's written by Von Klaus of Black Terror. Or is it Terror in the Trenches? Is that the title?
Yeah.
Is that the guy who did Dr. Monster or something?
Monster MD.
Yeah, Monster MD. Okay.
He's really good. And that guy, and we just connect. Like I can shorthand things with him, story ideas, stuff like that. And he's just a really good storyteller. So please pick up that book. I'm sure Pedro will like the support of Tropical Magics. I think he's about halfway. I think he's got 17 more days, something like that, on the campaign. And we can boost that. We can do better than that. Anyways, thanks to everybody in the chat. Thank you.
One last thing.
One last thing. Okay.
The government, our government, has admitted that yes, the Ukrainians did sink the the Russian, their flagship of their fleet, the Moskva, which means Moscow, named after their capital city. The Ukrainians sank that ship with missiles. So they fire aboard. The crew abandoned it, and that ship sank. So, you Russia.
Well, all the predictions are that Russia got in way over their head, man.
Yep.
So that would be nice to see them get beat up again. So, So thanks, everybody in the chat. Thanks so much for the super chats. I do appreciate it. Thanks to all my professional brethren. I wish Andy could have been in here for the full show, but he's got to be lazy, I guess. And hang out.
Driving Miss Lazy. I love it.
Driving Miss Lazy. Yeah. And so I think next week is going to be on Andy's, because this was Andy's week this week. So I do believe next week will be on Mr. Smith's program. And so tune in. We all have YouTube channels, so come by, subscribe, and we'll see you next week. So take care.
Have a good one, gang.